Shakespeare can change lives. Just ask director Sam White.
My mother, who was a ferocious reader, we weren't allowed to listen to rap music, but she heard me, knocked on the door, and had a big smelly book. It smelled like an attic. She had pulled her big complete works out of the attic, and she handed it to me and told me if I liked lyrics so much, that was what I was going to have to read. It took me forever to finish the complete works. Hated it almost the entire time until I was about 16, maybe 17, and eventually fell in love with it.
Now White is working with the Old Globe and the University of San Diego Shiley Graduate Theater Program to change the lives of a new generation of actors.
When using antithesis, remember that we should hear and understand the juxtaposing thoughts. Love, hate, silly, serious, whatever the juxtaposing thought is, that tension between those two things should be potent in the text. If you know how to do Shakespeare and you know how to do it well, you'll be employed all the time. And so if you know your verse versus prose, your heightened language, your antithesis, your metaphor, remember to use your metaphors to paint beautiful pictures, make them all the Mona Lisa. That's gonna really serve you to get jobs, after you graduate. And not only that, those tools from Shakespeare help you do any play well.
The MFA program was started to support the Shakespeare productions out in the festival stage. And basically, Craig Knoll and Sister Sally Fury over at USD decided to start a 2-year MFA program that brought young people, young actors, and teach them how to do classical work so that they can be on the stage with great Shakespearean actors. And then it became an apprenticeship and a mentorship between equity actors and the student actors.
White's directing a production of Shakespeare's Henry VIII with a cast of exclusively MFA students.
But what's exciting about working with actors who don't have a lot of Shakespearean baggage is that the freshness and the excitement of it all for them really bleeds through in their performances, which is exciting. It's almost like they tasted a new food for the first time, and it really has ignited those taste buds. And that sort of enthusiasm, that sort of hunger, is something that was really great for Henry VIII because it's not a play that's often done. Anybody who sees it will sort of feel that connection to the play because the actors are so committed.
Henry VIII concerns the early years of the 16th century English king and his political maneuverings as he discards one wife for another. White did not want to try and modernize the look of the production.
I think by putting the play in the 16th century, it really does make it more blatantly obvious that things really haven't changed.
And Jesse Perez wants the students to see those connections.
Shakespeare's really hard to make personal and make it sound human. So I always tell my students to bring Shakespeare to them. And when we're here at the Globe, we're in America and we get the story through our lens. It's Shakespeare in America. And that to me is what's exciting.
The MFA program brings in 7 students for each 2-year program. But when the time comes to tackle a Shakespeare play, 2 classes combine to take on the large cast of characters and to sink their teeth into Shakespeare's words and the music they create.
It is. It's the rhythm, it's the cadence. The verbs are so flavorful that if you have a monologue that has, that's written in verse and it has all of these, I call them juicy verbs, it really, you can't help but sort of be enraptured by the language. Verbs, 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 consonants, consonants, consonants.
The musicality of the language is ringing in ourselves. It's ringing within us. The sounds of Shakespeare are within us, especially if it's done well. You carry a vowel sound out there, it can reverberate in somebody's body, or a bass tone. Forget about it, right? Then all of a sudden we're like, whoa, where's that sound coming from and how is that made in the body?
That sound will be coming from MFA students, bringing fresh, vivid life to Shakespeare's Henry VIII this weekend and next at the Old Globe Cheryl and Harvey White Theater. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.